Hey guys, this is Alan from QCTropicals, and in today's episode I'm going to show you how you can take care of your moringa tree or a drumstick tree during the winter time. This is my moringa tree in the ground, guys, and it's been in the ground I think maybe about 2 years. Now, one of the first things you need to understand about your moringa tree is its root system. They have a taproot system that goes straight down in the ground, and the longer that taproot is, the stronger your tree will be. Now, what you see in front of me right now is frost damage. If you look at the leaves, they're all crunchy because ice got on them. Moringa trees in my area are mainly frost sensitive. What that means is when the water in the air precipitates down due to the cold temperatures, it will get your plant wet. And due to the temperatures, that water on your plant will freeze, creating frost. Just like having ice against your skin, you get frostbite. Well, plants will get frost damage. Amazingly, or surprisingly, moringa trees, they can take a lot of cold if they are fully rooted in the ground, just like this one. The older they are, the more cold they can take. There is a difference between cold and frost. Cold is going to be the ambient temperature. Frost is going to be ice on the plant. So if you have a moringa tree that's small, or you just put it in the ground recently and that plant gets frost damage, it may die to the ground and not come back. In my area, my regular winter temperatures get into the mid 20s for a few hours, and you know, that will damage your plant mainly from frost rather than the temperature. If your temperatures stay in the in the 20s or higher, your moringa tree may not look nice after the winter time like this one, but it will survive. And you can tell usually that this was just superficial damage because the leaves are all crunchy and they're obviously gonna fall off. But you can tell all my branches are green. They're not dying back, so the tree itself did not take any damage. You can tell that's green right there. So how do you protect your moringa tree in the winter time? Well, you don't. You just put it in the ground early in the season to give the plant as much time as possible in the ground before your winter starts. If you plant too late, that's going to be the time when your moringa tree may die to the ground and not come back. Can you cover it? Yes, you can if it's small enough. But since these trees grow very fast, it's very hard to protect it. So my recommendation is, if your temperatures in the wintertime stay above 20 degrees, plant your moringa tree early in the season. As soon as spring hits, let it grow all year, and then it will be fine. It may not look nice, but it will survive. Container grown. These plants have a taproot system that goes several feet into the ground. It's very hard to grow them in a container because they grow very slowly, so it's not worth it. A moringa tree will never get this size right here in a pot because there isn't a pot long enough out there to sustain a plant this big. It needs to be in the ground if you want your moringa tree to be productive for you. So as you can see, guys, this is one of 2 moringa trees that I have in the ground. And this one actually has a nice story behind it, which I'll tell you about it in the future. But usually they will take frost damage. They may look nasty for a little while, but they will survive. The only time you actually have to worry about them is if you have them in containers, or if you planted yours too late in the season. How long do they actually need to root themselves in the ground? I would say at least 6 months. The older your plant is in the ground, the stronger it will become. At what temperature can your moringa tree actually start taking damage from cold? Well, based on what I've experienced personally, usually once you start getting in the teens, your moringa tree will start taking damage just from the ambient temperature, regardless if it actually gets frost damage or not. But you also have to understand, guys, it's not about a number. Plants are just like you and I, and every plant is going to be different. This one may start taking damage at 19 degrees, while another plant will take damage starting at 15 degrees. What counts is actually how long you stay at those temperatures. 1 hour of 20 degrees is not the same as 12 hours at 20 degrees. The longer the cold temperatures linger, the higher the chances for your plant to actually take damage. Hopefully this helps you out, guys, especially if you have a moringa tree in the ground and you're worried about your plant looking not so good during the winter time. Well, you can see what mine looks like, and it's fine. This is normal in my area. Even if it dies back a little bit, it will still come back. As long as your main trunk remains green during the winter time, you will be okay. One last thing, that is the soil. In colder areas, what people like to do, they like to cover the ground with a lot of mulch, like a huge layer of mulch. That mulch will actually create heat in the immediate area. That will keep the frost away from the root area and the lower part of the trunk. But you have to understand, if your plant dies back, it will die back to the ground, even if you have a lot of mulch in the ground. Now, by putting a lot of mulch in the ground, you are assuring that the root system of your plant is not going to die. So if you live in colder areas and you want to grow this plant as an annual, meaning it will die back to the ground every year because you just get too cold, make sure that you put a thick layer of mulch all the way down and around the plant, as far away from the main trunk as possible. That will prevent that area from freezing and your root system freezing. And as long as the root system of your plant is alive, it will come back in the spring. Alright guys, if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.